Nah, I'm not doing that. Because all those videos are fake. I mean, think about it. There's no real proof. They just make it in a week and they say they did it in a day. So no, I will not be making a game in 24 hours. I'm gonna make a game during a 24-hour live stream instead. So if you know who I am, and I mean, why wouldn't you? Because I regularly stream to an average of 3.4 viewers on Twitch. You might mistake me for a bit of a boomer, and to be fair, I never wanted to do this. The whole idea began when all 3.4 viewers started flooding my DMs, telling me I should do a 24-hour live stream. So after considering the chances that I would literally drop dead trying to code for 24 straight hours, I decided I would take on the odds. I woke up on a Saturday morning, grabbed my coffee, and pressed live at 8:34 a.m. The only problem is we need an idea for a game. I wanted to let my viewers decide, but last time I let that happen, we created Broblock, which is quite possibly the worst game ever made, and you should never ever download it, but if for some reason you wanted to, the link is in the description. I decided if I wanted to do this, I had to go back to my roots and make some type of 3D open world game. There wasn't a whole lot of time for thinking, just pure instinct, so I started off building the 3D open world. I have a lot of experience here because of my open world tutorials on my channel. So I used Unity's native terrain system to carve up a landmass, then I added some details like grass, some clouds, and distant mountains to make it feel like we were in a giant valley. The last thing I wanted to add in was a lake. This actually turned out pretty annoying, but I made it through without too much trouble, and I also added in a post-processing effect so it actually looks like we're underwater. After 2 hours of setting up the project, bringing in some assets, and designing our 3D world, I was pretty happy with the initial result. I plan on coming back and making it better, but this was at least a good start. At this point, I suddenly had an idea because the lake turned out pretty well. It was decided that I was going to make a fishing game. I went through several rounds of asking ChatGPT for a good fishing game name, making it apologize repeatedly for some just outright absurd names. Lustful Lakes? Are you kidding me? What kind of game does ChatGPT think I'm making? Finally, we came across one that stuck out, Zen Fisher. So we're gonna build a chill fishing game, maybe some Minecrafty vibes, and I thought maybe we could make this like Pokemon Go, where we have a bunch of unique fish species in our world, and the goal is to catch them all. Okay, it was time to make a checklist of some major items we needed for the 24-hour stream. 1, we need a player controller so that we can move around in our world. 2, we need a UI menu to display our progress for catching all of the fish in our collection log. 3, we need a bunch of data classes to hold data about fish, lakes, and possibly even biomes if we get that far. 4, we need to implement persistent data tracking, which simply means that our progress saves even when we close the game. And last but not least, to round it all out, we need to implement a real-time fishing system. So I'm gonna set a goal for myself to finish these tasks in the next 5 to 6 hours. Yeah, so turns out I fucking suck at game dev. But that wasn't gonna stop me from trying to make a motivational montage. To start, we attacked our player movement by making a custom player controller that could walk, sprint, jump, crouch, crouch walk, slide, and even swim. So that ticks checkbox 1. As for the UI menu, I opened up Photoshop, started drawing boxes because I have the artistic abilities of a potato, and by some miracle came up with a semi-decent looking UI menu draft. I exported everything into Unity and booted up UI Toolkit. If you don't know what UI Toolkit is, well, you should probably jump into a burning pit of fire instead of using it, but obviously I didn't listen to my own advice here. You can see the end result. It's a collection log that pops up when you press tab, and it's supposed to keep track of every unique fish and rarity that you've caught. The only problem is we haven't coded up any fish into the game, so all those fish caught that you're seeing in the menu are actually fake. Okay, so that ticks box 2. Now it's time to do a little bit of coding. So I grabbed copy number 2 for the day and got ready to do some lines. Lines of code, that is. I did a few push-ups to get the blood pumping and started coding like a madman. I made data containers using scriptable objects for fish and fishing rods, both with the rarities all the way from common up to legendary and mythic. We connected all this data together in our game manager, and finally we had a backend for our fishing system in Zen Fisher. That ticks off item 3, but things were about to get pretty hairy. I needed to add in a persistent save system so we don't lose our progress when we close the game. I used an open source save system called file-based player prefs, but I quickly ran into the biggest challenge of the day so far. Because we want to have a metric ton of unique fish in this game, I had to create a C# list of fish species, which meant I had to save a list of scriptable object data to a file. Normally, this wouldn't have been too bad, but my brain was quickly turning into mush. At this point, we were 8 hours into the stream. Let's have a little listen in to see how things were going. Yo, it sucks. I haven't done this with data before. We have to save a dictionary effectively. Yeah, that's kind of ass. This just sucks though right now. Damn, I don't have to do this. I was getting super demotivated, and at this point, I actually almost quit. I couldn't get past this problem, but then one man in the chat reminded me of a very important superpower I was saving for the right moment. Shades? You think it makes me better at coding? Let's do it. So I put on the shades, and I instantly felt all of my coding powers return to me, and we cranked through this problem. Finally, we were seeing the data save properly for all types of fish. We are really close to having an actual functioning game, but the last crucial element needed is an actual real-time fishing mechanic. So I got to work on that, and for the most part it went pretty smoothly, except for maybe the part where we were firing fishing bobs out of our fishing rod like a machine gun. Okay, oh, we're just fucking launching this shit hella fast. Look at that shit. Boom. Yo, who wants to fish? Do this stage like an hour ago. Yes, dude, look. Look. It works. Finally, we were able to cast our fishing bob, wait for some amount of time, and then catch a fish. I was actually super hyped we even made it this far, but let's go back and see what I said about how long this part should have taken. So I'm gonna set a goal for myself to finish these tasks in the next 5 to 6 hours, and the current time is... yeah, so we are about 16 hours into the stream now, and the good news is we have implemented our base mechanics. The bad news is we're nearly 7 hours behind schedule. We have to really kick it into second gear if we want to be successful in this 24-hour stream. Now that the whole back end of the game is in place, it's time to make the game actually look good. We're going to implement a fishing rod, player animations, fishing animations, detail our grassy biome with trees and other objects, and if there's time, make a portal to a completely new biome. And we're going to do that in 8 hours. Yeah, I would say I'm pretty fucked, guys. I'm doomed. I headed into Blender to make a low poly model of a fishing rod, textured it with a gradient palette, and to my surprise we ended up with a fishing rod that looked really awesome and fit our game style. I exported it into Unity and started making 7 unique animations: idling, walking, sprinting, jumping, charging a rod, casting a rod, and finally, actual fishing. After finishing the animations, I took a small break to test out the fishing. Wow, this is actually looking pretty good. The clock was ticking and we only had 4 hours left at this point, so the race was on. I went back into Blender to make a better fishing bob. Then I started finalizing our grassy biome. It's a tricky process, but I matched the grass and the base texture by carefully choosing the right colors, painted the lake bed and mountain sides using a different texture, adjusted some terrain and prefab settings to make sure our game wasn't laggy, and at this point we were at 22 hours and 30 minutes, done with the grassy biome. I wanted to close this video out with a bang for you guys, so I put on the shades and got to work on the second biome. I quickly assembled a muddy wetlands biome from an asset pack, made a portal using a portal shader I downloaded, and then coded up some logic so that we would teleport between biomes when we walked through the portals. In the final few minutes, I was completely checked out, but I did add some music into the game to start doing some live playthroughs. Let's check out some of these in the final gameplay from the stream. Zenfisher is on the Steam store page. I would hugely appreciate if you could click on the link and wishlist Zenfisher now. It's totally free to do. The craziest part is we already have over 100 wishlists in less than a week, so this game really has the potential to go viral. Also remember to subscribe and like to help me get this video in the YouTube algorithm. See you next time, guys. Peace.